Well guys, it finally happened. Kevin Durant got traded and it did happen to be to the Houston Rockets. The team that I thought he would be traded to and the team that many thought that he would eventually get traded to, and they eventually did pull it off. And for a much lesser trade package than myself and pretty much everyone thought it would take to get Kevin Durant. I mean, even for a soon-to-be 37-year-old Kevin Durant, I thought he would take much more than simply Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th overall draft pick in the 2025 NBA draft, and 5 second-round draft picks. And don't get me wrong, that's a pretty good trade package, but maybe not quite up to par for a Kevin Durant, even a 37-year-old Kevin Durant. Yes, Jalen Green is a talented dunk scoring option, albeit very volatile at that and can be very inefficient at times, and not to mention coming off a pretty poor playoff performance. Yes, his first playoff performance, but definitely not a good one. Then for Dillon Brooks, a great role player, a guy that can definitely get in people's heads and even in his own head at times, but maybe not a guy that I'd put as the second part of a Kevin Durant trade. And then for the 10th overall draft pick, pretty good, but we're not talking about a top 5 draft pick here, let alone even a top 3 draft pick, which many people thought that they might try to get in a 3-team trade or something along the lines of that from maybe the San Antonio Spurs, but that did not happen for them. And then for the 5 second-round draft picks, kind of random here in my opinion, not bad trade assets, but definitely not what I saw coming here. I thought it would at least be Jabari Smith Jr. and or Reed Shepherd and or Tari Eason, or maybe another first-round draft pick or 2, not 5 second-round draft picks. I mean, go ahead and trade 3 first-round draft pick swaps, and I think that still would be better than 5 second-round picks. Again, not a terrible trade package, but not quite up to par for Kevin Durant. I for one thought they would have to trade one of Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, or Reed Shepherd, or let alone 2 or 3 of them, or at the bare minimum if they don't trade them, have to include another first-round draft pick or maybe 2 or 3 of them. And yet, that did not happen. So in my opinion, the Houston Rockets definitely won this trade, and I think they're going to be a big threat in the West going forward. And that kind of begs the question of, especially for our channel here, how does that affect the Lakers? Well, for one, they weren't included in the trade. Many Laker fans thought or were hoping that they would be a part of the trade, whether that be to simply initiate salary in the trade and make the trade work financially, maybe being part of a 3 or 4 team trade and getting a role player like Dillon Brooks. You know, maybe that wouldn't be great with him and LeBron's history, but somebody like that, for example, a role player from either the Rockets, Suns, or whatever other team might be involved here. Maybe a guy like Royce O'Neal or Grayson Allen from Phoenix, but that did not happen. And with that being said, is it a missed opportunity for them? Well, in my opinion, not really, just because there was only a 2-team trade and there wasn't a 3rd or 4th team involved here in general, neither them or different teams, so you really can't say it was a missed opportunity. Maybe they could have pushed harder to get trade assets or include their own trade asset in the trade, but simply put, neither the Rockets or the Suns needed them to be involved to make the trade happen, so I'm not going to say it's a missed opportunity for them. So in that regard, they didn't really benefit and weren't really affected that much from the 2-team trade, but they definitely will be affected from a competition standpoint going forward. After all, the Rockets were the 2nd seed in the West last season, and that was without Kevin Durant, with their young team built around Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, then their vets like Fred VanVleet, Alperen Sengun obviously, who's kind of in the mix between that, and they managed to keep a whole bunch of them. Again, only trading Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks, still keeping Alperen Sengun, Fred VanVleet, Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, and pretty much the entirety of their core. That's a very dangerous team going forward. I mean, I would be shocked if they're not a top 3 seed next season. Pretty much the only thing they were lacking was a reliable scoring option, and now they just got that with Kevin Durant. So for the Lakers, being a top 3 seed themselves last season, finishing 3rd, they're going to have a tough time beating out both them, the OKC Thunder, and probably a team like the Denver Nuggets and probably a few more as well. So that will get tougher for them. Now, I'm not about to say the Rockets now the team to beat in the West. I mean, after all, we're watching the OKC Thunder in the Game 7 NBA Finals later tonight. They could eventually become NBA champions and without a doubt are definitely the team to beat in the West going forward. But with them, could you include the Rockets? Yes, I guess you could make that argument, including them with the OKC Thunder. Maybe a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves, obviously, they made it to the conference finals. Maybe a team like the Denver Nuggets yet. Maybe the Lakers in that conversation, depending on what moves they make this offseason. So another team is definitely in that conversation and will be a tough team to beat going forward. Yeah, I mean, they did trade for a soon-to-be 37-year-old, but not your normal 37-year-old. This one's coming off a season of averaging roughly 27 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, over 4 assists per game, a combined 2 blocks and steals per game, shooting a pretty tremendous 53% for the field, 43% from 3, and 84% for the free throw line. Nearly at that 50-40-90 shooting splits. So yeah, talking about Kevin Durant, still in the prime of his NBA career, arguably, is obviously a top 1 to 2 scoring option yet, is a top 10 NBA player when healthy, and has even remained fairly healthy in the past 2 years now, playing well over 130 NBA games, and that's even with their team not really in contention last season. So he definitely adds a lot to a Rockets team that pretty much needed exactly that in my opinion. A definitive number 1 option, a guy that can create his own shot and pretty much whenever and wherever on the court. That's what they got with Kevin Durant. So very good trade for them to make in my opinion. Again, with the trade package they had to give up here, not very much, and without a doubt worth it for Kevin Durant. However, apart from the Rockets here, how about the Phoenix Suns? How did they benefit and how will they move forward after this trade? Will they try to go back to competing in the West, or will they go and enter a rebuild, or maybe a soft reset? Definitely a conversation to be had here with that, and if they do go in the direction of a reset or rebuild, then the Lakers might be able to benefit from this trade yet. Whether it's for a guy like Dillon Brooks, like I said, maybe not with the history between him and LeBron, but any of the veterans in their team that they might be willing to part with after this trade, including anyone from Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, Cody Martin, Nick Richards, and even a few more after that point, this could be a beneficial part for maybe the Lakers or any other contending team for that fact. If the Suns are not done trading, if they're trying to really reset their team and enter a new direction and kind of offload the best in their team other than Devin Booker and kind of Bradley Beal, who they really can't trade even if they wanted to, then this might be an opportunity for a different team and maybe an opportunity for them to enter an all-out fire sale. Now I really don't think they go that route, with them acquiring both Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks, kind of signals that they're trying to compete yet or only do a very soft reset, not an all-out fire sale or an all-out rebuild, so I'm not sure that will be an opportunity for the Lakers. You know, if anything, I think the real opportunity for the Lakers or any other contending team that's trying to buy right now would be with the teams that didn't get the Kevin Durant trade, mainly being the Miami Heat here. After all, they apparently were one of the 2 finalists for Kevin Durant with the Rockets, but also the Miami Heat, per Shams Charania, saying that the Miami Heat and Rockets over the last 24 hours were engaged on a Kevin Durant trade, but obviously the Rockets were the winner here and the team that the Suns chose to trade with. So now the question is with Miami, will they enter a rebuild? Will they kind of have a fire sale with their remaining trade assets, or what will they do going forward? I mean, here on the channel we've talked about a guy like Andrew Wiggins, for example. I think he would be a great fit for their team, could potentially be that 3-and-D option beside Luka Doncic and LeBron that could make their starting lineup work with all 3 of Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, giving them that 3rd or 4th scoring option, very good 3-point shooter, a primary defensive option that can take on tough matchups on defense and pretty much anywhere 1 through 4, has been a primary 3-and-D option and primary defensive option for a championship team back in 2022 with the Golden State Warriors, is still only 30 and is in the prime of his NBA career, so that might be a good trade target for their team. Or even apart from him, any other veteran on the Miami Heat, you know, maybe not Bam Adebayo here, that would be a gigantic trade and maybe not one they could pull off, but any other veteran on their team, or maybe a team like the San Antonio Spurs, for example. What direction do they now go in, and are they open for a trade? What kind of trade are they looking to make? All around here, the teams that didn't get involved in the Kevin Durant trade will likely pivot in a different direction, which the Lakers might be able to find an opportunity with and maybe benefit from too. But apart from all that, I think the final thing to point out here is simply the pressure that's now been applied to Rob Pelinka. Following the Rockets, a team that finished in the top 2 again, a team that finished 1 spot above them in the Western Conference standings, there's going to be a whole lot more pressure on Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office to improve their team and kind of generate their own new look or new addition for their team that propels them to a different level of contention. I mean, they now got to compete with not only the OKC Thunder, but now a Kevin Durant-led Houston Rockets, an up-and-coming team like the Timberwolves who seem to get better every year, the Denver Nuggets who are still a threat, and many more thereafter. It's going to be tough and they cannot simply sit around and do nothing. They have to improve the team. They gotta find the good fits to surround Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves with. Gotta find a center option for their team, both a starting option and an off-the-bench option, and simply put, improve their team to reach that level of contention that they're simply not at right now in my opinion. And no, I'm not saying to go out and make a Kevin Durant level trade. That's obviously not going to happen with their current trade assets, but gotta go out and improve the team, whether that be via trade, whether that be via multiple smart free agent signings, or whatever it might be. They gotta improve the team, and this will apply more pressure onto their front office, namely being Rob Pelinka, who fans are already applying pressure to already. And well, luckily for him, he has a great opportunity to do it this week with the NBA draft coming up. Yes, the draft does happen to be this week. I know it doesn't feel like it with the NBA Finals going on and a Game 7 later tonight, but it does happen to be this week. And with the NBA draft typically does come moving parts, teams being willing to make trades for draft picks, trade away draft picks, trade away veteran players, or whatever it might be. There are definitely a lot of transactions during draft week, and the Lakers might be able to take advantage of it. And for Rob Pelinka, this is the opportunity for him to make a trade prior to free agency and improve their team prior to that point. And like I said, maybe try and take advantage of the teams that did not get Kevin Durant and now have remaining trade assets and remaining salary that they really don't want or are trying to trade with. So now's a great opportunity for Rob Pelinka, taking advantage of the after effects of the Kevin Durant trade, the NBA draft coming up, and a bunch of teams trying to make trades yet and having remaining trade assets. This is a great opportunity for him. So that's what we have to look forward with. Maybe not directly benefiting from the Kevin Durant trade, but definitely being able to benefit from the after effects of it, if the Lakers front office is smart and if they go about it the right way anyways. And well, with all of that being said, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the Kevin Durant trade? How do you feel the Lakers are affected or could be affected by it, or maybe even benefit from it going forward? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.